There are many false concepts when it comes to the gig economy. Some people say that if you use it to drive rideshare and delivery, you're going to drive your car into the ground, depreciate it, and it's going to break down on you. That conflicts with various evidence of drivers that have launched full-scale businesses and still have their car intact. So what's the mystery? Why does it work for some and why does it not work for others and end up badly? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over how I went from being an Uber Eats driver to launching a 5-figure, getting ready to be 6-figure business, which stemmed from the gig economy and the opportunity that it gave me. So let's get into it. What's up, everyone? This is Elijah with the App Lifestyle, the place where the world is literally in the palm of your hands. And today we're going to talk about the gig economy and how to do this delivery stuff right. Because there's a lot of talk about how the gig economy works, how you're losing money because you're depreciating your car's value, all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to tell my story and how to do this stuff right and dispel a lot of myths out there, because contrary to popular opinion, I've done delivery for 5 years and my car is still here. As you can see, same car I've been using since 2015. That will change by the end of this video, but you'll figure out why that is. The gig economy holds a special place in my heart personally because it provided something to do where I could make some money while I was in a transition point in my life. See, I used to be a PA at Amazon, and eventually I quit because I felt like I wasn't living up to my full creative potential. At the time, I was doing network marketing and actually doing pretty well at it, but I wanted to supplement my income doing something. That's when a friend told me about Uber, and I decided to drive for Uber for a little bit as a way to just make some kind of extra money. And by Uber, I do mean rideshare. Eventually, Uber started harassing me about starting Uber Eats. Do I want to do Uber Eats? Which I declined at first because at the time they didn't allow tipping on the platform. Surprise, surprise. Once they allowed tipping, I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and give it a try. Come to find out that I actually liked Uber Eats better than rideshare, mainly because I could listen to audiobooks while I was delivering food. So I was able to learn various things about finance and health and wellness just by delivering food and listening to those audiobooks. I gradually mastered doing Uber Eats, and then I decided to pass the buck and teach others how to make between $17 and $18 an hour consistently with Uber Eats. That's what sparked the creating of the channel, The Uber Lifestyle. Eventually I changed it to the App Lifestyle because Uber didn't want me having that trademark, which is fair. As the channel grew, I built a following up with the App Lifestyle, and then I decided to enter the world of freelancing in the form of editing videos and also designing people's websites. I was only able to do this because I was supporting myself with Uber Eats and also my YouTube channel. But this was successful because I became pretty good at editing people's videos, designing websites, and eventually becoming a social media manager. The numbers on the screen reflect how much I've made on various projects throughout the years when it comes to freelancing. Eventually that money was saved up and I started my business, which I'm running to this day, called Financial Anatomy, which currently brings in about $1,000 per month, various affiliate sales, and it's helped me launch a best-selling book called The Anatomy of Financial Success. I say all this not to brag, but to illustrate a point that the gig economy can help you get things off the ground as long as that's your intent. A lot of those myths out there that you're going to destroy your car and all that stuff is somewhat accurate if this is all that you're doing. But if you're going to use it to get other projects off the ground, it provides you a very rich opportunity that you can use to build something very efficiently. But you might be asking, what does this have to do with the App Lifestyle and where will the channel be going from here? It's been a while since we've seen you, Elijah. Well, let's answer that while I go get some gas. Now, some of y'all conspiracy theorists will probably call me out on this and say, Elijah, was everything you mentioned, was that your intent all along when starting the channel? And the answer is yes. Everything I mentioned, everything that happened was part of the original game plan. So where does that leave the channel now? Because as y'all know, I haven't been as present as I used to be, and I've been putting a lot of time into the Financial Anatomy YouTube channel. Is this one just going to be abandoned? Well, we're going to answer that question right now. So up until this point, I've firmly stood by the notion that you should pick one of these apps, master it, and get that money and start something else. For me, that was Uber Eats. That's why most of the videos you see on this channel are about how to master Uber Eats. But since I've already achieved what I wanted to achieve, that does mean that y'all want me to expand to other apps. So I will expand to other apps. But I want to keep the uniqueness to my channel because I don't want to just become like one of these other generic gig economy app channels where all they do is talk about earnings and talk about strategies, and y'all have already seen that. Will I do some of that? Yes. But I want to do something unique that keeps the channel fresh and really gives y'all value, while at the same time it needs to be connected to something that I'm very passionate about. And I looked at the response that I got from my DoorDash review where I showed y'all how much I earned after taxes and broke down the financial expenses and what the actual per hour earnings were. Y'all very much enjoyed it, and I don't really see people in the gig economy doing that so much. And I'm not knocking anyone. They probably either they can or they don't want to, but since I have a personal finance background and I have a whole channel devoted to personal finance, I would love to bring that type of analysis, that type of energy, that type of just showing the whole picture to you guys. And that's something that would connect to something that I'm passionate to at this time while giving y'all value. So it's time to break down the game plan, but let me drive back home because it's probably rude for me to keep occupying the gas spot. So Elijah, what's the game plan for the channel? I want to show people how to do this gig economy stuff the right way, because like it or not, there is a other side to the equation that we can't ignore. There are some people that do this and they run their car into the ground and then they're put in worse position. So we want to make sure that you do it the right way so you can come out profitable and come out on the other side with resources and assets that you can use to really set yourself a foundation for the future. In other words, we want to make sure you're moving forward and not getting in some kind of financial quagmire. How I plan to help you with that is by showing you an alternative and, in my opinion, much better way of doing the gig economy. Whether you choose to do it or not is up to you. But I won't be using my Mitsubishi Mirage, which is the car I'm sitting in, to do these gig apps in the future. The reason being is because I started them in order to enter the freelancing field and then use that income to start my own business, which was Financial Anatomy. That's been done, so it doesn't make sense to depreciate my car any further. Instead, what I'm going to do, and this is actually the best way to do the gig economy, delivery, rideshare, whatever you're going to do. This is the best way if your car is going to be involved. But I'm actually going to buy a cash car, a cheap cash car, for probably under $3,000, and I'm going to use that to do delivery. Now, when you sit here and think about it, let's say I spend $3,000 on a cash car, and I'm going to be doing delivery part-time. Well, I'm going to make that back within probably the first 2 months. And for those of y'all that are full-time, if you decide to duplicate this process, you could probably actually make that back when you're in your first month and a half, maybe even first month if you're aggressive. From that point, you're going to be what we call in business in the black. That means that the amount that you spent, you've officially gone above that. In other words, you'll actually be profiting at that point. This is the best way for me to give you guys content because I'm going to be showing you an alternative way of doing this that will actually be better for you in the long term, allow you to build something else on the side. Because truth be told, eventually the new car that you buy could start breaking down and need brakes and all that, but as long as you take maybe 15% of your income and put it into a savings account, you can just use it to buy another cash car and duplicate the process. And I'm gonna actually be documenting my process of doing this when I get this cash car in a spreadsheet, and then we'll do probably monthly live streams, or if not a monthly video, updating y'all of how much money I'm actually making with that cash car on these apps, how much did the cash car cost, how much am I putting back in savings for another cash car when this one breaks down, and how I actually sell that cash car to duplicate the process. I'm very much looking forward to this because this allows me to bring something to the table that most of these other gig economy channels aren't doing, which is the financial side, the whole picture, if you will. And keeping it 100, it doesn't make sense for me to drive for these apps right now because I have other streams of income that pay much more. But if I do it in this manner, it actually makes sense for me as well. And being honest, I actually miss driving delivery because, well, there's a few reasons. The first reason is my audiobook consumption was so big when I was driving for Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc. because I was driving a lot. And I don't tend to listen to audiobooks when I'm doing other things. So when I stopped driving for a while, the amount of audiobooks I would consume decreased. We don't want that. I always want to be learning. Another reason is because I just simply like driving. I mean, it might be in my genes. My father used to race cars in his youth, but I just generally like driving. And finally, the tax deduction. I always go with the standard mileage deduction at the end of the year. And as I showed in my Is DoorDash Worth It video, the tax deduction that you get from all the mileage you drove that year is usually higher than the amount of money you made on these apps. That actually helps to offset other taxable income I'm making from my other streams, such as the YouTube ad revenue generated from this channel, the ad revenue from Financial Anatomy, the money I make from my freelance clients, and the money I make from my book sales, as well as online courses that I sell. And I know I said finally, but this is a true finally. This is probably the most important part, but I want to duplicate what happened to me to happen to more of y'all. I don't want people getting in situations where they run their car into the ground and then they're just left with nothing. I want y'all to use this gig economy stuff to actually build other skill sets which pay a lot more. And that leads me into the process. So the process is the same thing that I conveyed when I was telling my story, but we're gonna bullet point it to make it a little more streamlined, concise, and simple. You basically go from driving for one of these gig apps or multiple apps to developing a skill set and entering the freelance world to starting your own business. Some of y'all might argue that isn't freelancing starting your own business, and in my opinion, I would say it's not. I say that because freelancing is strictly based on services, while most businesses are going to offer some type of product. Now, if you do start offering products within your freelance business, that's when I say you've stepped into the realm of really owning a business, because a business really has a product to sell, in my opinion. That's not a technical definition. Like, there are businesses that are service-based, like, accounting, for instance. But if you're not hiring other employees or you don't have other contractors on retainer, in my opinion, it falls in that freelancing category. Of course, not everyone has an interest in all parts of that process. Some of y'all already have jobs or career and y'all just want some extra money on the side, and that's why you're driving for the gig economy. Y'all would stay in the first part of the process, and that's fine. Some of y'all will develop a skill set and start freelancing, but y'all don't want to develop a product or start hiring people as far as a business. Y'all are fine with just having a service that you can use to generate money, so y'all will stay in the freelancing phase. And some of y'all, of course, want to go the full range and eventually have your own business. So whichever one that you want, I'm here to support you. As far as the gig economy goes, there's always going to be a link in the description of my videos from this point on that you can click on to submit ideas of apps that you want me to cover or topics that you want me to cover about particular apps. Like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Or what's your recommendation on this? Just submit it in that portal. I'll receive your request and I'll put it in the queue as far as videos that need to be done. And for those of y'all that want to actually work directly with me on how to enter the freelancing world, develop a skill set, and make money that way, you can always go to the Financial Anatomy website and book a coaching session with me. There, I'll break down exactly how to get started with freelancing and how to grow your clientele. Of course, I gotta say that this is just for freelancing. If you have questions about these apps, that's what the comment section of these videos is for. I'll address questions regarding any apps that make money in the comment section. But truth be told, for you full-timers out there, I wanna get y'all gradually away from the gig economy and more into offering some kind of service to society. That way, no matter what happens in the future financially, you will have a skill set to fall back on that you can use to make money. Because the truth being told is, the gig economy can change just like that at a moment's notice, and that change you might not find favorable. You don't want to be in a position where you have to rely on them full time to make money. You want to have a skill set that you can make money with outside the gig economy. And of course, if you do want to move into the business phase that I talked about before and you need help doing it, assuming that you already have certain things set up, feel free to book a coaching session for that as well. And since the app lifestyle served as a community that I use to launch all this community is actually getting a discount. All you got to do is type in the words The App Lifestyle 2021 at the coaching session checkout, and then you'll get 40% off the session. But just remember that if you book a session, we're going to be talking about freelancing, getting you a trade or skill, helping you to get clients, how to monetize that trade or skill. We're not going to be talking about these apps. I want to get y'all a trade or a skill that y'all can use to make money with. So if you book a session, just keep that in mind. We're not going to talk about these apps. With that game plan in mind, let me know your thoughts on what you think about this. Any questions you may have, any commentary that you may have as well. I'm looking forward to talking to y'all in the comments. That does it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below like I mentioned. And don't forget to check out my second channel, Financial Anatomy, where I break down financial concepts and help people with budgeting money, making more money, and how to spend that money once you get it. This has been Elijah with the App Lifestyle. Be safe, be profitable, everyone. I'll see you around, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when we drop another video. And if you found value in it, a like is greatly appreciated.